Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Jerry Cooey.
I'm Deborah Nelson. Thanks for joining us.
Folks, we want to take a couple minutes here, and our intention is that in an upcoming show, we just have so much political stuff to cover right now that we believe that you want to see. Our intention is to show you some of the events.
Highlights.
The highlights of the 9/11 event that took place in Santa Rosa County. However, we are going to take a moment and say it was a tragic event. The loss of well over 3,000 lives, the loss of security as a whole of everyone in this nation, and you know, it's a tough thing to look up and see that occur. Matter of fact, and you know, everybody says, "Do you remember where you were at?" Yeah. A friend of mine had invited me to play golf. We were walking into the Scenic Hills Country Club. And there was a TV on the wall, and just happened to catch a glimpse of it. And actually, my honest thought was, they must be watching a movie or something. I had no idea. Yeah. And so we hit the golf course, and we get around to hole number, I don't know, 5 or 6, and a guy comes out of his house, and he said, "My son works at the Pentagon, and the Pentagon's been hit also." And wow, it was just a really surreal moment in my life, you know. And you know, folks can argue politics all they want to, but there is a war on terror, ladies and gentlemen. It's important for the United States of America to stand tall and not embrace the customs of the very people that killed 3,000 of our citizens on that fateful day. And one of the things in the near future, I'll be traveling to Washington, D.C., and our hope is that we get to go to the memorial. Actually, yeah. in my trips with the Milton High School band, we were actually there when the smoke was still coming out of the hole. So not only is it a horrible event for the United States of America and American citizens, but it's especially to me, because it was like rolling up. You know, we were there right after it happened, and it was just you can't imagine the enormity of it until you're standing there with your fingers in the fence, looking at a gigantic gaping hole in the ground and smoke still coming out of it. Okay, so just wanted to share that with you folks, and hopefully we'll have some good footage to show. We had some. There was some speeches and some really good singing, and of course, you know, I'm very proud of the Milton High School band. They on their own, the students participated in the 9/11 event at Milton High School. One quick thing, Chairman of the Democratic Party, we haven't spoken of
Chairperson or chair.
Chairperson, Chairwoman.
Chair is fine.
Chair. Yeah. We haven't spoken of Mr. Weiner lately, that lost his job over sending photographs everywhere.
That's true.
And I'd just like to report to you that in a district that has been held by the Democrats since the early 20s,
yes,
a Republican won.
The whole thing was unfortunate.
Was it unfortunate that a Republican won?
The whole thing was unfortunate.
That's her story.
It was an exercise in unfortunateness.
Oh, me. Well, you know, I had to dig her a little bit, folks. Well, you know, and another thing, folks, we've kind of been thinking about changing the name of our show to Team Santa Rosa TV Week.
Well, they've been in the news so much lately. What with the FBI subpoenas and all.
Yeah, let's go over that. Team Santa Rosa in May of this year received an FBI subpoena. One subpoena in August the 23rd of this year. They received 2 more subpoenas, and the last 2 shows we went over all of those subpoena items, and we want to back the bus up a little bit ago, and I want to give credit to Alan Isaacson. Allen felt that there needed to be a contract.
This was several years ago.
Right. Well, about 3 years ago.
What was happening was Team Santa Rosa was just there. They seemed to have sort of materialized out of the ether,
Right.
and they were receiving a lot of money,
Right.
$500,000 at least yearly, and there was no contract, there was no
written
ordinance,
agreement.
there was nothing. Right. They were just there.
Yeah. So Allen, along with the county attorney, they sat down and they chased it around there for a little while, elbowed over a couple issues, but the bottom line is 3 years ago a contract was hammered out. It was agreed to by the Board of County Commissioners. It was signed off on by Team Santa Rosa because Team Santa Rosa serves, they stand in the shoes of government. So if you're going to continue to do that, the county said, here is a copy of the contract. If you want to continue to be part of economic development, you'll sign it. Of late, I think we may be, the county may be very proud that there's a clause in there that holds the county harmless of actions by Team Santa Rosa.
Lawsuit type stuff, yeah.
Yeah. So the contract has been there. It was brought to the attention of...
it was up for renewal.
Right. It was
in October, October of this year.
It was brought to the attention of some of the commissioners that the contract was coming to a close and it would be time to have a conversation about that because even though Team Santa Rosa's never followed the contract, I mean, what the heck, they've done very little to ever follow the law.
By that you mean you don't believe they've
they've
provided reports.
They've never furnished reports. They've never backed up. They've never done follow-ups. I mean, there's several items in there that.
And we do need to mention that the county has the power to sever the contract if they're not happy. So the county has always had the power if they weren't happy with their performance to cancel it.
Right. So it was brought to the attention of a couple of county commissioners that the contract would be up for renewal, and we wanted to make sure. I know Allen, he wanted to make sure that let's not let the contract lapse.
Right.
Let's start a discussion. And so what occurred, and after we kick it around a little bit here with you, we're going to show you the actual videotape. But it was an item on the agenda at the county commission
September 8th, county commission.
September the 8th to go over this and
well, and to question whether they should renew the contract. That was the main issue. Right.
And so, you know, certainly I have very strong feelings about it. I think I've probably been expressing that for about 5 years now. Maybe if someone would have listened to me, we would have never gotten to FBI subpoenas and $5 million lawsuits, but that's a story for another day. Certainly I got up and expressed my 2 cents worth. Honestly, the thing that shocked me the most, folks, is that Commissioner Don Salter had the nerve to say, well, we need to study this contract.
What happened was Commissioner Cole had said, let's only give them, I think he originally said
120 days.
Right, extension, and see what happens. And that was met with great, you know, what do you mean? They need at least 6 months and so on and so forth. And they eventually approved extending their contract for 6 months.
Right.
That was the final action.
Well, and look, folks, it was subtle, but there's a difference, okay? Because I want you to understand exactly what went on there. Because you know, when you watch a videotape, you're really not seeing everything, okay? But what occurred is Commissioner Bob Cole made a motion for 120 days. With an RFQ and an RFP to immediately start.
In other words, to look for other possible people who could do it besides Team Santa Rosa.
For a team to qualify themselves and to look at anybody else who might be qualified.
That's right. A request for qualifications.
Exactly. And immediately upon his motion, Commissioner Melvin seconded it. Now, as parliamentary procedures here, Commissioner Williamson was actually the chair because that's the he's sitting as the chair of economic development now, so he is driving the conversation. So we have a motion and a second on the floor. Well, then as Deborah said, then, well, you know, it needs to be longer than 120 days, and Salter kept expressing, well, we don't want to look at the qualifications or putting it out for bids right now. And
well, he said we could talk about how they're doing it, but we don't need to change the way they're organized, basically, and which I interpreted to mean as the so-called public-private arrangement, where they're
exactly
not as accountable as they could be, as they would be if they were a government agency.
Right, and so, you know, that was one of the things that I went up and challenged. I said, you know, for goodness sakes, you've had this contract for 3 years. Surely someone's read it by now.
Yeah.
Surely we clearly understand that Team Santa Rosa's never followed it.
Right.
You know, it may be just a piece of paper to Team Santa Rosa, but it's a very important document to myself and many of the other citizens.
Right. Again, they haven't followed it. You mean they haven't provided the updates that you thought they should have. And again, we do need to point out the county could have canceled it if they were upset at that any time, and they didn't do that.
So the next thing that occurs is Commissioner Salter makes a motion. Well, his is 6 months and no qualification period. We don't want to look at anybody else. We're going to wait till we study this. We need to study this, and that's what I raised.
Public input.
Yeah, that's where I raised my objections at. And you'll be very proud of my TV partner Deborah Nelson, because she asked the question that needed to be asked. She stepped forward and said maybe we could get team to tell us about what their job numbers look like. And Cindy Anderson stands up, camera rolling, microphone turned on. No, I cannot give those numbers.
I said, how many jobs in the last, let's say, 8 years? And the answer was not available.
Right. You know, and of course I followed that up by walking back up there and saying, you know, come on guys. Cindy Anderson's been in charge of economic development for 9 years, and if the person I have in charge can't tell me how many jobs that's been created, that you know, there's just no way. And you know, it's just another ring around the rosies. You know.
Well, see, now they've moved on to the next stage. Now, well, we're going to reorganize it. There'll be changes.
We'll do better.
Exactly. Right.
We want to know what you want us to do.
Right. Well, no, I'm talking about even post that the county commissioners themselves are saying, well, we're definitely going to see some changes with the way, quote unquote, the county does economic development, and I think people need to be concerned that what's happened is with all this rigmarole that's surrounded Team Santa Rosa, there's all these actors behind the scenes you never see that are profiting from all this, and they've learned. And they're you know, now they're going to mutate, and they're going to be a little smarter about it next time. You know,
well,
they're going to they're going to present it as if they're transparent and open, and they're providing records and this and that. And my concern is things will just be better hidden in the future.
Right.
I mean, to some extent, I mean, you talk about, remember the old Hogan's Heroes show?
Right.
It was advantageous to have Colonel Klink running Stalag 13.
He knew nothing.
Exactly.
Right.
Because you could get stuff done, you know, in the tunnels with Colonel Klink running it. Well, Colonel Klink is probably about to be stepping down. And you're not going to have him there anymore, and now it's going to be, you know, it's going to be better hidden, I think, in the future.
Well,
there's no way it won't be, because it's the very way that this process is structured is perfect for funneling money under the table. And if the option is there, it's always going to happen.
Right.
With so-called economic development.
You know, and
it raises the question: why is the public subsidizing this to begin? Why is it necessary for us to subsidize this?
96% of it.
Yeah.
If it was a good process, the private businesses would jump in and donate their money.
Why are we?
If it was working.
Right. I mean, and you look over in Escambia. How many jobs has the Pensacola Chamber, quote unquote, created? I'm guessing they don't have any numbers at their fingertips on that either.
Well, they got a new man over there, and he seems like he's trying to do the right thing. So maybe we can have that conversation.
But I don't think that's the point. The point is you've got millions of dollars going into this made-up process called economic development throughout the state and throughout the country.
Right.
Where are the jobs? There are no jobs.
Well, obviously,
because it doesn't work.
Here, I'm going to use a line on her. She tells me all the time, obviously you're against good-paying jobs.
I'm obviously against good-paying jobs. I don't think that these agencies are capable of, quote-unquote, facilitating any kind of employment.
I'll quote again.
Except in their own field.
I'll quote again what the U.S. Chamber of Commerce said. They said it's infrastructure, infrastructure, and 85% of all jobs created come from a company that's younger than 5 years.
Yeah.
So, to me, I've said it forever. Stop the poaching. Go door to door in the county in which you live. Find companies less than 5 years old and see what you can do to help them grow.
And I'm telling you, that in itself is a waste of time. Take the money that you're flushing down this economic development toilet and use it to repair the roads,
right?
Repair the
bridges. Absolutely. Put in the infrastructure with it.
Hire teachers. Exactly. That's what facilitates employment in industry.
Let's have one paved road in the Pullen property.
Right.
How about one paved trail in the aviation park, which we've owned for 7 years now, with no activity.
I mean, we've never seen them quite. They questioned everything about how Team Santa Rosa operates. There were no questions as to why are we subsidizing this function that has never worked anywhere that I'm aware of in the United States at all.
I think
why are we subsidizing it?
I think one of the points that may be made at the quote unquote big team meeting coming up, I think that question is going to get asked. The functionality of it. You know, can you accomplish anything with this model? Obviously, the model is not working.
And is it really the public, the government's job to create jobs? I mean, how's that going to work?
Well, one of the things that I learned while I was standing at the Pensacola Chamber of Commerce was one of their leads that they said was in Santa Rosa County. So they're stealing from us.
Right.
Of course, I have to admit, folks, I was kind of shocked that Ferd Solomon, who is the chairman of Team Santa Rosa, and Dave Hoaxing, who is the incoming chairman of Team Santa Rosa, were both at the Pensacola Chamber of Commerce meeting. You know,
well, I'm just going to stand by it. I told you this originally. This is they do this with these projects like this maritime park.
Right.
Economic development is the ultimate carcass. It's a carcass. The vultures land on it.
They pick it clean.
They pick it clean.
Then they drag the real. As soon as there's no meat left. They look for the next project.
They look for the next carcass. And economic development in this state has been like a blue whale carcass. It's the biggest one out there. They're still picking at it. Eventually they're going to kill us. There's going to be nothing left of us when they funnel as much money as they can through it. But right now, it's still just too tempting to take that money.
Absolutely. Enjoy the video. I'm Jerry Cooey.
I'm Deborah Nelson. Thanks for joining us. Good night.
9-year experiment. This contract has been in place for 3 years. To those who think that contract needs to be reviewed a little bit more, I'll just have to say I don't understand why. Been in place for 3 years. Now, I will tell you that Team Santa Rosa has not followed that contract. They haven't given the reports necessary. They haven't been coming out with their relationship of expenditures and jobs as outlined in that contract. But there is a contract there. It just hasn't been followed. I'll tell you, I'll see which way it's going today, but I'll tell you I'm very disappointed in it. We studied it to death. We've seen the results. There's only one thing you really need to look at. Jobs. There's only one rule we need to look at. I think I've made my position clear abundantly, but let me make it one more time. It's time to end this experiment. We've looked at it, we've studied it, we've coddled it, we've thought about it, we've wrung our hands about it, and here we go again. We're going to give another 106. Go ahead and give them another 3 years. But I'll tell you this, and for my friends that are on this board, don't take this the wrong way. The community is not happy about this decision right here. They're not going to be happy about it. They're not going to be happy about a certain recent thing that just happened at Team Santa Rosa. And there's going to be a huge public outcry if you jump out here and give them another 6 months. I mean, I've spoken with some of you. You know what kind of phone calls you're getting. You know what kind of pressure is on you right now. It's time to stand up and do the right thing for the citizens of Santa Rosa County. Okay? Me and a lot of other folks have had enough of it. I appreciate your time. Thank you.
Thank you for coming to this, Julia. But I will say too that I think that this board would not be doing the right thing if we didn't do what we're trying to do here today. I think we're trying to go in the best direction for Santa Rosa County, and we're going to all work together and find out exactly what that is before we make any decisions. And we realize there's concerns and some constituents and the taxpayer, and we're trying to look out for those concerns, but we don't just do something overnight on something that's been in place for so many years. Next.
Morning, Commissioner. My name's Bill Wiggins. I live at 6049 Mayberry Lane.
Thank you, sir.
Here in Milton, Florida. My first remark would be, how much is enough? Is 8 years, 10 years enough? How much is enough? How long do we go with a procedure that is not working? Now, you people are business people, or you're supposed to be. And I ask you today to make a business decision. And if any one of you in any business that you've got, I don't care what you are, electrician or mechanic or whatever you are, you have got to have people perform for what you're paying for. We are not getting the performance that we are paying for today. And you know it. But yet we want to keep on studying this thing. And we want to keep on, let's have a meeting on it. And we'll study it, and we'll study it, and we'll study it. And what good are we going to do? We are still going to have Team Santa Rosa. In my opinion, when we do, if we ever do reorganize this group, we need to change the name from Team Santa Rosa. This name has got to be something that the county, the people in this county, does not look up to. That's a bad situation. Now, I heard here Tuesday a very eloquent presentation from the leader of Team Santa Rosa. I heard her get up here and say, we've got to plant seeds. Okay, we've planted seeds for 10 years. Sooner or later, any farmer that is any farmer at all is going to say, we've got some bad seed. What does farmers do when they have bad seed? They plow over them and replant. Gentlemen, today I tell you, it is time that you plow over this current Team Santa Rosa and you do some replanting. I think.
Lady first.
Hey, I'm Deborah Nelson. I'm chair of the Santa Rosa Democrats. I appreciate the chance to speak today. I wonder if Team could tell us this morning how many jobs they have actually net created in the last, let's say, 8 years with the $400+ thousand that they received, plus the millions in other incidental expenses that facilitated through your agency. I wonder if we can get a job number, an exact number today from them.
No, I can't give you a number for the last 8 years. If that's a question that y'all have as a board, I would be happy and excited to bring that back to y'all at the workshop, and we'll bring all of those numbers. You know, luckily or unluckily, we didn't have a slide up the other day that talked about companies over the last 3 years. And we had almost 15 new companies over the last 3 years. You can drive to the Santa Rosa Industrial Park and through some of the other areas. I'd rather not get in the defensive mode this morning against people who don't take the option to come to our office, to be a part of what we do, to give us, you know, my kids can come up and tell you what's broke. It takes a true professional to come up and tell you how to fix it. And I would like these people to come, sit down with us, be a part of our board of directors. We are open to the public. We have taken their advice and done the sunshine. They are able to come and give us input. We would like to have positive input on how to make Santa Rosa County better. Because every time we get positive input from the commission, from the public, from our outstanding board of directors, from your 5 representatives, we take that to heart. We are not an entity that sits back and says, that's the way we've always done it. We just do it like we've always done it. No, we try to learn and do better. Mr. Fortune came up on Tuesday and told y'all that he had been amazed how every day we're doing a little bit better, making the changes to evolve and be a part of a positive, successful Santa Rosa County. I look forward to being able to come to the workshop, and I also look forward to hearing each and every one of you tell us what problems have to be resolved. I heard several times, we got to resolve this. I don't know what needs to be resolved. If you can articulate what we need to do, man, we're right there ready to do it for you. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Anderson. And I would just articulate that I think what they need to do is create jobs. And I think that if you're looking for input into performance benchmarks that you would see featured in that contract, I would say job creation numbers would probably be first and foremost. I'm sure you're aware we have a serious unemployment problem in this area. Mr. Salter, you mentioned that you thought the current structure was working out great. I'm sure you're talking about the fact that they're half privatized. And I would just ask you if you've ever had a sales job, and if you know what happens in a sales job when you don't perform. You get fired is the answer. That is correct, you get fired. So I would just suggest that you put the job creation, if you're looking for some input into performance benchmarks, that would be number one to consider. Thank you.
Chairman, let me answer Deborah's question. Yes, I had a sales job back in 1967. It was in Southeast Asia. And if I didn't perform, I would die. So thank you very much for that question.
Okay. I just leave with one final comment. The chairman or the head of Team Santa Rosa makes my case for me. Been working there for 9 years and can't give you a jobs report this morning. I'll rest my case. Thank you.
And that's what we're hearing year after year. Is the same song, second verse. If it don't get better, it's going to get worse. And we continue to give them more time. Just continue. Every time you pick up the paper, oh, we've got 500 people coming in here. We've got 1,000 people coming in here. But it never materializes. They never fulfill their promises. Gentlemen, it's time to grow a backbone and to do what needs to be done. And that is to reorganize Team Santa Rosa from the ground right on up to the top. Thank you.